Thanks for being here. I'm Eric. I'm the host of the AGI Builders Meetup. We have a packed schedule tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. A little about the host. Thanks for Cloudflare for hosting us, and Lizzie for staying like her night with us. And also thanks for BentoML for the food. If you do know workers, Cloudflare workers, scan this QR code and apply for the workers Launchpad program, and you get some free credits. And also Lizzie gonna talk about Cloudflare's AI gateway as well, which you can use those free credits for. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to scan the QR code. Okay, cool. A little bit about BentoML. BentoML is a unified inference platform for any models or any cloud. If you want to host custom models, DeepSeek, and on-premise or in your cloud account, feel free to find me or head of engineering Sheng is here, and also CEO Chaoyu is here. Okay, cool. As you can see that there are cameras set up. This came from our friends. Yeah, it came from our friends, Cube. And Cube is a startup, and they're doing beta testing, and they're looking for design partners. If you're interested in to turn your phones into a multicam professional setup, scan the QR code or find Yang in the back. Great, awesome. So a little bit about AGI Builders Meetup. So we started the meetup last year, February. So this event is the 1-year anniversary. And thanks for being here. And also thank Cloudflare as well. We kick off last year with Cloudflare in these specific locations. We hosted 21 events last year. Not only in San Francisco, also in Atlanta, also New York. We got 8,000 people on our Luma page, and also we got good reviews. I didn't go through all 8,000 people. I just tried to do it like 20% of it. Those are the companies who are involved with the community, and also on the right side are the VC who attend our events before. So what's next for 2.0 with this year? As you can see that we changed the logo a little bit as well. So for this year's open, the theme is open for the meetup, and we're looking for city leads. We already secure a lead who will help host events in New York, and also we're looking for volunteers to help, and also sponsors as well. And some new idea, we're debating if we want to start a newsletter or a podcast or Discord. If you have any ideas, feel free to find me, and we can chat more. Okay, great. So the housekeeping is if you take pictures or if you want to post on social media, feel free to use a hashtag. It will help us promote the event. Great. For the first section of the meetups is going to be community demos. And we have 3 wonderful Antler founders here tonight. And a little bit about Antler. Antler is a global VC, which based on the data is the most activated pre-seed VC right now. And they are opening their summer cohort in San Francisco this year. It's going to be a 6 weeks program, and you can get $500,000 for fundings. If you're interested in, feel free to scan the QR code. One more second. Great, awesome. Cool. For the demo, first we have Ish, and she's gonna tackle a little bit more about manufacturer AI.
Okay, cool. Can you guys hear me? Okay, sweet. Hi everyone, I'm Ishita, CEO, co-founder for Manufacture AI. We build LLM applications to scale hardware. Previously, I have been a manufacturing engineer at Tesla and built electric vehicles and self-driving space at Uber. And most recently, I worked for a spacecraft company called Planet Labs, which is actually around the corner. It's pretty rare to find like the hardware community in San Francisco, so we're pretty tight-knit. Pretty much everyone knows everyone. So yeah, hit me up if you're interested in hardware, mechanical, whatever stuff. With that, I'll get started. So want to give you some context of the pain point that we're solving for. So today, the manufacturing industry is like still pretty primitive. They have to create these manufacturing documents like statement of operations, bill of materials. That takes hours and hours of time, like creating, manually typing, and adding, syncing pictures, etc. Every build is still a new build. And most of the solutions out there are really focused on creating a template or like a manufacturing execution system where you can like edit these instructions or like put new pictures and stuff, but there's still not enough tooling out there, like LLM applications that can use this data to drive like real-time meaningful impact, like create supplier recommendations or create like bill of materials or anything like that in the hardware space. So with our tool, a user, suppose you want to go and build like a device, you could simply upload your engineering drawing and use our tool to generate SOPs that you can then give to fab houses and machine shops in order to build your hardware. Cool. So today we're going to be working with this camera module assembly. So this is how it looks an exploded view. And as you can see, like any mechanical assembly is composed of like a bunch of different components. Like you have the base plate, you have the top, front, you have a fan assembly, other plates, fasteners, etc. I already created a bunch of drawings for this, but when you log into our system, into our platform, you simply upload an exploded view, which is exploded drawing of the assembly I just showed you. Then you want to upload more drawings so that it understands like the spatial context better. You click Analyze. And 9 out of 10 times it works, but sometimes it glitches out. I hope it's not this. Yeah.
How long have you been building it? How long have you been building this?
The ideation and concept has been for a year, but I have been actively working on the startup since September. So yeah, here you can see this is like a statement of operations. So you have an image, and then you have the mounting, PCBA, assembly steps, different like alternatives of like how to install the top plate, the back and front plate, etc. Specifically, it also calls out for the parts you need, the tools you need, like a screwdriver or anything else like a hex key that you need to assemble it. Usually something like this takes like 15 to 20 hours per engineer to compile in like any hardware company. If anyone's worked in the space, they probably know that. But with our tool, we can get you there in like a couple of minutes pretty much. And yeah, that's what it is. And we're already partnering with like companies or enterprise companies in defense, space, and also self-driving autonomous systems. So if anyone's interested in signing up or just using the beta, would love to just chat with you. We're also looking for AI ML engineering help because my background is in mechanical and my co-founder is also like more hardware. So if you guys are interested in exploring like how to build an LLM for hardware components, come talk to me. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. And for the next, we have Abi from CodeIntegrity.
Bring this back on. Is it on? All right, so we're CodeIntegrity. We rebranded the product to testcode.ai. Expensive domain, but worth it. So when we started off, how we got into this is we were a popular unit testing framework, LLM powered. But then we realized there's something called the Oracle problem, which is, turns out when you generate unit tests with the same model or family of models as the one you're using to write code, it doesn't catch the bugs, you know? Like, you got test coverage, you got all these other metrics, you got players in the field like Codo, Windsurf, I guess Cursor does it too. But turns out if you get 100% test coverage, it doesn't mean the test is catching logic bugs, because you can fake the assertions and all of that. It's a little software engineering bias to talk, so my apologies. So we delved into the field of mutation testing, which is what we power is a platform where we inject faults into your program at scale. I mean, millions of faults. And then we run unit tests against them tens of thousands of times and see if your program can actually catch those bugs. So a problem is when you LLM generate at scale, it works in the short term, but long-term technical debt's going to kill you. The code's not going to scale well, you're going to have performance bugs, and you're going to have a refactor, which is ridiculously expensive. So it's cheaper to just unit test more rigorously, which is mutation testing in the short term, to deal with that. So our two biggest customers are Nimbus Banking and the Horowitz company, United Masters. They're both, I guess, specific of the different class of companies using it. Like Nimbus Banking is a neobank, aged code, Java 11, 10 plus year code base. They have no chance testing that with just basic unit testing right now. So they're using us. Horowitz company, they're using aggressive ML tools for code gen. The testing cannot catch up with it. You generate cursor tests, it's not doing well, so they're using us for mutation testing. Now, how do we power this? There's a lot of interesting nuances there. We power a platform where we take your code, we scan all the prior bugs you had in your code. We can pick them up from GitHub, DevOps, whatever. We have integrations for everything. We use those as context, inject faults. There's a bunch of technical high parallelization, individual language test runner optimizations, because you got to run the test a bazillion times. So this is impossible if you don't build a bunch of stuff to make it run cheap and fast. Then we generate a report, and the report kind of has a summary of all the issues and test cases that are mutation backed. So we nuke your existing unit test case and rewrite it from the ground up if you want to, ensuring empirically that it will work against the many millions of mutations we put in your code base. I don't know if any of you know George Hotz. He runs TinyGrad. I love TinyGrad. TinyGrad is like an aggressively compressed Python ML accelerator. Very difficult to test. They're having trouble. We actually generated a lot of reports for them. This is one of the premium reports we generated for them. This is kind of, I guess, which one is this? Yeah, this is mostly about the reshape function. I guess I'm using TinyGrad as an example because it's an ML accelerator, heavy logical math based, so it kind of lets our platform shine. You got edge cases, so let me give you a quick mutation. So if you got a code, you got an if statement greater than 0, you got to check 0 case, you got to check the lesser than 0 case, you got to put those little syntactic mutations, you got to put more complex mutations. If you don't do this at scale, it's kind of pointless, because Amazon tried this, Meta tried this, I used to work at Microsoft, we tried this. If you do this, it just annoys developers, because a lot of this is false positives, so we had to put a lot of work into removing the false positives to make sure this is actually usable. If anyone wants to try it out, we do have a popular open source right here. It's named MutaHunter. You can use it for Python. It's language agnostic because we operate at the abstract syntax tree level. This will work great for baby code bases, but for anything production, you got to use our platform because you're kind of dead in the water without the heavy optimizations to run it, make it run fast and cheap. But yeah, if anyone wants, let me pull up the links here. But I got 2 QRs here. That's the open source, and so I can get this in screen. That's a demo link for anyone who wants to see the actual platform do stuff. We're heavily biased towards companies running mission-critical code. Language agnostic, as long as you're supported by abstract syntax trees, which is mostly every language. So yeah, glad to talk to anyone who wants to check it out further. Open source demo. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next, we have Hima from DeepModel.
Mic check, does this work? How's it running? Good. Cool. I'm going to put out yours. You guys can call me back. Let's see. That's the video. Just to quickly show you guys the problem that was happening.
This is for recording.
Quick platform demo. So my background is I've been in enterprise software for a long time. I started in local AI platform back in 2016. And after that, I was the CTO and led the founding engineering at ComfyUI, a healthcare data platform. So I've worked a ton with technical products, and what we typically see is that when you try to drive adoption, you create a ton of content, and it looks something like this. And then you give it to the user, they poke around a bit and say, okay, it doesn't work, let's look at what, there are a ton of things that can do the same thing when you look at it from a 30,000-foot view. So you get this response and you ask them, hey, did you read the instructions? They're like, okay, out of here, bye. So the core focus for us is how can we make software easy to adopt, and especially in an environment that when you sell these multi-million-dollar software deals, if you haven't onboarded users properly within the first 9 months, you are at a high risk of churn. So that's the type of environment that we're operating in. So we work with our early customers are folks like Harness and Grafana. We help them drive adoption. The way we do this is actually, before coming to this meetup, I had heard a little bit about BentoML. Wasn't too quite familiar. So I hit up their docs to see what they do. There was a ton of content. I figured I could load this up to our platform. So let me expand this. So we can make this content a lot more accessible, and I can ask simple questions and get this multimedia response that has images and videos all built into discovering a platform. So you can make this accessible through a private endpoint, or you can make it publicly accessible. As well. So that's the public UI, and then you can have a private mode there too. Let me see. Oh. All right. This is, I see it's very small here, so all right. It gives you reference documents and also videos, etc. So why not use ChatGPT to ask these same questions? If you are at Bento, you want to have control of your message. You want to be able to see the stats and have the ability to generate this content that folks are demanding. So on the back end of it, you can see what type of questions are being asked, and you can get a very clear dashboard that shows detailed analytics. what kind of content are getting good reactions, bad reactions, etc. And these things are completely configurable. These agents are fully configurable, which means you can create and deploy agents for various specific enterprise customers to, and also add the architecture or environment-specific content to help drive adoption. And two things that we're working on is being able to provide custom instruction sets for these agents so they can take an opinionated view to navigate or guide the customers to the wow moments inside your product. And also turning these questions and answers into product content and product demos that are auto-generated that you can push out through your content hubs. That's a high-level demo of DeepModel. Thanks for listening.
Great, thank you. And for the next, we have our first speaker. It's going to be Lizzie from Cloudflare. She's going to talk about Cloudflare's AI Gateway.
Wait, not this. Both.
Both?
This is for recording.
Wait, what is
This is for recording. This is the.
Oh. Not used to this for meetups. Video. Go that one. Oh, how do I know? Oh no. What? Sorry, cursor should not be shown. There we go. Hey. Welcome to Cloudflare SF. And thank you, Eric, for the introduction. I'm Lizzie. I'm a developer advocate at Cloudflare, and tonight we'll be talking about AI Gateway and how you can build better, safer, and cheaper AI applications with it. Me, studied computer science at Bryn Mawr, went to a lot of hackathons in college, and that's how I found out about developer relations. And I'm still going to hackathons, building demo apps, and hosting hackathons and meetups. We hosted this with CRV, OpenAI, and Swix last year. Subscribe to @Cloudflare on Luma for more events. And we do have this Hacking AI Agents hackathon this weekend. Feel free to sign up there. Hope to see you there, starting tomorrow in like 12 hours, 24. So, anyone here use Workers AI? Me try. Long time no see. I thought you looked familiar from over there. Okay. Cloudflare offers serverless AI inference that you can run on our platform, and it is free to run beta models. So many Llama models are free to run inference on. You can invoke, fine-tune, and work with a variety of models, and you can also use custom proprietary models as well. So some benefits: no infra management, low latency, and running with only a few lines of code, which is like very handy. This afternoon, OpenAI released GPT 4.5, and I was able to add 4.5 into my AI agent with only one line of code. Yeah, AI be wildin'. So, Cloudflare's AI security is just a part of the larger Cloudflare for AI solutions to support model training, optimization, and the inference cycle. We have observability, which we'll be talking about. Vector database. Did you know that Cloudflare had a vector database? So you all knew it. I was just in Stockholm at a conference, and like no one knew it, which was interesting to me. It's always interesting to like compare developers in different cities. Even in New York, we don't like developers there. Mainly finance people. Yeah. So Yeah, I digress. Workers AI integrates very easily with your Workers and Pages Workers applications, as well as AI Gateway, which we will see soon. So what even is AI Gateway? You can think about it as a full proxy with caching, rate limiting, request retries, analytics, and tracking of AI usage to mitigate data loss and AI integrity. Woo, ethics. You can observe traffic patterns, usage, logs, and costs. So I love seeing my input and output token usage. And it's interesting to compare across different model providers. So it's free to use, and you can compare prompts and outputs from other hosts, Replicate, Base 10, OpenAI, Anthropic. I don't know why I'm whispering. Sometimes, like, Cloudflare has so many products, like, they're kind of competitors, but we also partner with them. Like, OpenAI is a co-host of the hackathon this weekend. Yeah. So with AI Gateway, you can alleviate the burden of cost and speed with caching and rate limiting if you have repetitive requests. Which, if you've seen my AI demos, there's a lot of those. AI Gateway offers visibility and monitoring, so you can track token usage, costs, and performance response times. Woo. Well, a demo, but I'm debating doing live because it takes a long time. So you could compare that output response time. Caching, you can store frequent responses to reduce model calls and latency. Rate limiting and request management, prevent API abuse, and optimize costs. I feel like there's a lot of startup founders here, probably up your alley. For model fallbacks and retries, you can ensure app reliability by handling failures gracefully, something I myself could work on. Prompt management and versioning, improve LLM interactions by tracking prompt effectiveness with that prompt management. And for evals and metrics, benchmark models, and optimize your AI workflows. And there is a lot of LLM support. Yeah, a lot of click. My Google Cloud account is down. I was trying to use Gemini to get some, I think it was like web crawling. I wanted to like search the web if anyone works at Google here. I DM'd 2 people on Gemini's team I know, and they were like, we can't help. I was like, well, so I pivoted to something else. Oh, competitor, so take that, Google Gemini. So a lot of LLM providers. If a model starts returning unexpected results, logs will provide you a trail to investigate what prompts were used, which models were called, and how they responded. Logs let you compare different models' performance like speed, accuracy, cost to determine the best fit for your app. And the feedback feature, which I think is cool, like thumbs up, thumbs down, to help reassess response quality. So you can iterate on prompt engineering. I should have worn my prompt engineer hat. So AI safety challenges. LLMs are non-deterministic, so outputs can be unpredictable. Every time I try to give a live demo, I'm like, it works, and then like, surprise, unpredictable. Users may attempt to elicit inappropriate responses. And you'll see some guardrails soon. Visibility is crucial. There's lack of oversight, risks that user safety and brand reputation. And regulatory pressure is mounting. The EU AI Act and Digital Services Act mandates risk management for content safety measures. And for developers, inconsistent model safety, different AI providers have varying moderation policies. Without proper tools, monitoring unsafe content across different models is not easy. Solution: a provider-agnostic platform like AI Gateway that centralizes observability, logs, and content moderation in one place. And what are LLM guardrails? A set of safety controls that monitor and dictate a user's interaction with an LLM app. This set of programmable, rule-based systems sits between the user and our foundational models, the foundational models, to make sure that model is operating between some defined principles. By implementing guardrails, You can define structure, type, and quality of LLM output. And I guess like the goal of guardrails is simply to enforce the output of the LLM to be in a specific format. And you can also validate each response. Here we have without guardrails, you're the worst AI ever. With guardrails, different response. Got excited. AI Gateway now makes it possible not just to accelerate and observe, but also to protect your AI deployments with guardrails. You can run guardrails on inputs and outputs powered by LlamaGuard 3B on Workers AI. You can start by flagging or blocking prompts and responses based on content categories and adjust filters according to like blocking violent crimes, sexual content, and even election-related content. So a lot of options to block. And while Cloudflare's AI Gateway itself is free to use, guardrails does incur a cost, low Ciento. You're billed for the amount of inference you use. You can connect almost any model provider to it and use it to log, cache, filter, and load balance across multiple providers. And any OpenAI compatible client works out of the box via REST API. So how it works. Put AI Gateway between service and provider. Write one line of code. It really is that easy. And you can provide all the additional value of observability and analytics all in one place. That's that one line of code to start. For example, I'm going to plug GPT 4.5 YouTube video I just published today on Cloudflare Devs on YouTube. Follow at Cloudflare Devs on YouTube. We ship fast. Demo. I built this last night. Just kidding, not that one. It uses Cloudflare browser rendering to scrape the web or scrape Hacker News, get the top 10 Hacker News posts, and based on whatever you want, do you want Stephen A. Smith or Ted Lasso, it will summarize and analyze those top 10 Hacker News posts in their tone. I'm rewatching Ted Lasso, so Ted Lasso's been on my mind. Also, Go Warriors, kind of with Stephen Smith. YouTube. Cloudflare's new AI agents platform. And I also send emails to myself every hour, scraping the top 10 Hacker News posts. And you can view that app in its code on GitHub at the end of this talk. So further resources, Cloudflare AI models, LLM Playground to play around with, AI Gateway Guardrails was just launched this week, and that demo on GitHub. And as well, QR code for the slides, for the code. And thank you. On to the next talk. And I will be here all night as well as tomorrow night and Saturday night because of the hackathon. So if you have any questions, I'm here and there.
Okay, cool. For the next talk, we have Sheng from BentoML. He's going to talk about how to turn ComfyUI workflows to APIs using BentoML. While he's setting up, short pass, have you guys used ComfyUI before? Have you guys tried to share ComfyUI workflow? No? Okay. I need the workmap for you.
Thank you. I have two mics. Which one should I be using?
Both.
Both? Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Eric actually asked a question that I was intending to ask. I'm here to talk to you about how to turn ComfyUI workflows into API endpoints, and I want to learn about, if anyone have used ComfyUI before, and if you're not familiar with ComfyUI, that's completely fine. I'm going to give you a high-level introduction of what that is and why it's, I'm standing here to talk to you about it. So my name is Sheng. I work on engineering and product at BentoML. And BentoML is a company. We help AI teams around the world to deploy applications, AI models onto any cloud of their choice, whether that's hyperscalers like AWS, Google Cloud, or the new clouds that you have heard of like Lambda Labs, CoreWeave, or it's your good old on-prem data centers. We can help you with all of those options. And when we're working with our community users and customers, ComfyUI is a pretty commonly come up type of applications that we're deploying to production. And if you're not already familiar with ComfyUI, it's essentially a workflow engine for generating creative images and videos. It's designed to work with generative AI models like Stable Diffusion, Flux, and on top of the assets, the generation that's for these generative AI models, it uses these very reusable modular components to create high precision and control over the images and video that you create. So as an example, you will see the specific workflows can get you the more specific result that you want, as opposed to you kind of just shoot in the dark based on the prompt that you put in and the type of image you eventually get generated with the model itself. But with ComfyUI, you can get much granular controls. And more importantly, ComfyUI, I think the most impressive aspect of them is the vibrant ecosystems of community-created resources. There are a lot of workflows online that you can just download and adopt and start using. And chances are that there's one that's already meeting your needs, or with very minor modifications, you can find it very useful for you. And lastly, I just find ComfyUI very easy to learn, and it's really fun to get started with. Let's dive into ComfyUI a little bit. I'm going to talk about these concepts. I mentioned the terminology like workflow and nodes. What are they? So when you open ComfyUI, you see a canvas like this. And what people typically do is they load up a workflow. It's in the form of a JSON. And when you open it, it shows up with boxes and lines connecting them. And this is a relatively simpler one. And it can be very complex workflows with dozens of boxes that generates very complex workflows. But for the intended purposes of this demo, I think this is perfectly serving its purposes. It should be fine. This workflow is intended to modify the facial expression of any portrait that you're providing. So we can give this a try. I have a picture of Jensen, and if I queue it up, I think by default it gives the wink. So that's the workflow by itself. It's perfectly working. The concepts. So this whole thing is called a workflow. Each box here is a node. And node, it does one thing only. It serves one purpose. So this loads the image. This one does the transformation. This one saves the image. Pretty easy. And lastly, you can see this. There's different inputs and outputs. That you can provide the input as an image, but all of these knobs are tunable. You can change it. You can control the facial expression with the detailed configurations in here. Let's give it a try. I don't know the range of this value. We'll give it 0.5. So it is changing the expression a little bit. Okay. And lastly, the models. The models runs behind the scene. It runs behind these nodes. So this expression editor is leveraging AI models behind the scenes to modify the image that I'm provided. So now I have this workflow running locally on my laptop, running on a browser. It's serving a single user. That's me. But what if I want to expose this to everyone else? What if I want to serve this on the internet? The typical way is you turn this into an API. It's what everyone else does if you want to share a function to run. And with ComfyUI, this is actually one of the more frequently asked topic when we talk to ComfyUI users in our community. They want to be able to turn their workflow into a deployable API, so it can be served on the internet for anyone else to use. As we built this deployment, solving the deployment challenges with ComfyUI, we built a set of utilities and tools, and we put it together as a comprehensive plugin on top of ComfyUI. And we think open sourcing it is the best way to get more adoption, so we built this thing called ComfyPack. Its goal is to be able to package any Comfy workflow and be able to deploy as a RESTful API endpoint with customizable input and output parameters. I'm going to show you in a bit. So what are the challenges with deploying API endpoints? So first of all, we need to turn this workflow, which is you load it on the website, is an UI form. We want to turn it into a web service. So that involves converting the workflow into a well-defined API specification with very clear input and output schemas. And on top of that, you just start an HTTP server to serve the converted API specifications with proper error handling, observability, and multi-language support. That sounds like a lot of work. So with ComfyPack, first of all, ComfyPack is a plugin on top of ComfyUI. You can install it using the custom node manager. You just have to search ComfyPack in here. Yeah, it's here. So for today, I already have it installed, and you know it because the additional button is a functionality that's added on top of the header. So first of all, with all of these different inputs, how do I define what I want my API to expose? Maybe I don't want to expose all of these different tunable parameters, and especially when I have a more complex workflow, I could have hundreds of these tunable parameters that would make my API very hard to use. So to specify what I want to expose on the API, I just have to use ComfyPack's input node. In this case, I'm using image input. So I'm going to connect my image input to this workflow. And same for the output. I just have to add an output node. So I'm telling my API I want to return an image. Oh, I need to copy one more thing, which is this file name extension. Adding an image output node, configuring this to be the same as before, connecting this to it. And just let's test it out. It should work largely the same as before. But with these custom nodes, now I'm telling ComfyPack, this is the input that I want, and I want to return an image. And with this information, you can just click this serve and bring up an HTTP server on port 3000. And now you can see this very familiar Swagger page. And this describes the API that is generating. The /generate is the most main method, that is the main function that we're exposing. Input source image is what we just configured. And we can test out this API by passing in the same image. And it should work, and this API should return the image result. So now I have the API itself. The next challenge I'm here to solve is replicating the workflow dependencies. So for ComfyUI, if you have worked with it before, so you probably have seen these errors, such as custom node not found, cannot find the correct model weights, or missing Python dependencies. And all of this is because we're not installing the correct versions of these components themselves. ComfyUI relies on these components to the stricter version of these components for it to work together reliably. What's running locally in the browser, if you want to replicate the exact behavior, you need to get the exact versions of these dependencies correctly deployed anywhere on the cloud. And what we do here is to lock down the versions of not just the ComfyUI itself, but also the Python dependencies, custom nodes, and also the model hashes. So to make sure that we have the exact environment running locally versus running on the cloud. And back to our ComfyUI, and if I click on deploy, giving it a name, what this will do is locking down all the versions of the dependency and then build it into an artifact and push to Ubuntu Cloud. I have previously uploaded the model, so it's pretty fast. It will actually compare the model hashes, make sure that we don't upload things twice. Okay, back to the third challenge. Now is the actual scaling of the workflow with production traffic. So running locally, it's serving one user, and it's perfectly fine with the low level of requests that it's receiving. ComfyUI typically can serve one request concurrently at the same time. But if you're putting the workflow online, you need to be able to serve potentially hundreds, thousands of requests concurrently. That means you need to scale up your dependency scale up your workflow to not just a single replica, potentially with multiple replicas. I have deployed ComfyUI here on Bento Cloud. So this is the playground UI that is the same as what we saw earlier with the Swagger UI. You can put in any of the input in here, and it will adjust as the workflow specifies. And behind the scene, you can see that there's one deployment, one replica of this workflow running, powering this operation. But if I want to serve more than just one single user, and I need to be able to dynamically scale the replicas with the traffic that is coming in. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to start a load gen. It will slowly ramp up from 1 user to 4 users. And behind the scene, Bento Cloud will see that there's sudden requests coming in, and it will scale up with the demand that it needs. So now that we see there are more replicas coming online to serve the requests that they see. We leverage this request queue architecture to help with the scaling. So when the request comes in, it all gets enqueued into a worker queue. So with the available replicas consuming from the queue, and also the autoscaler will detect that there's additional requests coming in, will scale up the fleet to be able to consume all the requests from the queue. So eventually when the instance come up, we'll be able to serve the requests from the queue one by one. And this way, you can dynamically handle whatever traffic that you have in production. Oh, also did I mention, if you don't have anything in the queue, this platform will be able to scale down to 0, so you don't have to waste your precious GPU resources. Okay, let's see where our deployment is. They're coming online and start serving, and we have already processed 18 requests in this time, and with 0 failures. Okay, so again, we are BentoML. We're a unified inference platform for running any models on any cloud. And now that we are serving ComfyUI workflows as well. And I'm going to put up the QR code for ComfyPack. And this is an open source project you can just use from GitHub. Please take a look. And if your team is building with ComfyUI or deploying ComfyUI to production, come talk to me, and we'd like to help you on that. Thank you.
Thanks for Sheng. Any questions for Sheng? Okay, cool. Thank you. So for the next, we have Isoform, and he's gonna talk about how to conquer SWE-bench. Quick show of hands, have you guys heard of the SWE-bench? Great, a couple. Cool.
Hey guys, I really appreciate your time with me today. I'll be the last tech talk. I'll make sure it's quick, sweet, then we can go on drinking or partying, right? I'll make sure I have plenty of time for Q&A. So what I will talk about today is who I am, what I do, what is SWE-bench, why it's important, our journey doing the SWE-bench, what we learn from it, and what's takeaway for you guys if you guys building AI agent. So let's just get it started. Oops. So who I am, I've been building software for the past 20 years. Last 13 years building ML ops models or ML ops in general. I was the founder at BentoML, and now I'm working on Isoform. So what we do at Isoform, we build end-to-end integration for companies with our AI native platform. We deliver impactful outcome, fast and under budget. So you can focus on your core competencies, right? We use a mixture of AI agent plus a human tech lead. Okay. Yeah, what is SWE-bench? It's like it's an industry benchmark to measure how well your AI agent able to solve a software problem autonomously. It pick about 10 to 15 different Git Python repository on the internet. The original data set have 2,300 data. The light version have about 300. Then the one everyone is using is SWE-bench Verify. It's about 500 questions that's picked by OpenAI's human, annotators. What does that mean? Is that there's a lot of questions, a lot of issues from those repositories. You require deep expertise in those repositories. Not everyone knows those, so they pick the stuff that average engineer probably could solve it if they give them enough times. It's been used by many companies out there. AWS, Google, Anthropic, they all use it to measure how well they do. It's a great place to try it. Why it matters? It just shows you how far we're advancing our AI agents' ability to solve the software problem autonomously. Like our starting point, we started about 6 months after it come on board. The first benchmark scoreboard at February, we did ours around end of August. It's just like any other scoreboard. You want to get the highest score. So you really want to figure out your designing trade-off. We care about correctness. So our trade-off at the time is we don't care about how long it takes. We don't care about how much cost it takes. We just want to get the highest score. So based on that design philosophy, what we're able to do is we're able to just get relatively high score without fine-tuning the basic 4.0 model at the time. And how we're able to do it, we put a lot of work into it. We do a lot of scratchpad, chain of thought, chunking, all sort of stuff. The problem is like, what's the problem with that? It's super freaking long. It's very error prone, right? Because you're working with probabilistic machine where you do deterministic way. And it's very hard to work with. The big aha moment is 2 papers around the same time we published. One from Salesforce called Diversity Empower Intelligence, DEI. What it says is, it actually used SWE-bench as an example. It combined all of the answers from the top 4 or 5 SWE-bench at the time, and it get about 25% higher than the highest score at the time, right? You get like 55 or something. The highest score is like 40. Crazy. How did they do it? It's like, because everyone designs their agent just a little bit differently, and really is back down to prompt. Prompt is how you think, how you ask the LLM think differently. By asking the LLM think differently, you can solve different part of the problem. So when you combine those together, you got really high score. It also sees that when you have a single method, no matter how good it is, it's just not going to solve everything. It's just like a human engineer. No matter how good you're in Python, you might not be that good in Java or reverse-wise, right? And so what we learn from this is you want to go multiple approach. You want to expand the different way you solve the same problem. And the other paper came out called Autonomous Design of Agentic System that help us to design many ways. Because I'm just a single person, I can only design maybe 4 or 5 different ways. Afterward, my creativity is dry out. I don't know how to design more. So what they say is you have a 2 layer of agents. You have a design agent that designs the execution agent. Then the execution agent come in to solve the task for you. So now you have a way, when you combine those two, you have a way that you can design many agents autonomously using your agent, and then try to solve the problem. So the big problem here is you really want to do evaluation correct. So you're able to expand a lot. Now you have to figure out a way to contrast. So what's our new approach? Really focus on diversify the problem-solving path. We able to generate many different agents, or execution agents. Let agent design it themselves. Number two is something I didn't mention earlier, is when I mentioned our first time to attempt it, we have a very rigid system. If we figure out the right choke point for the evaluation, where to test is correct or not correct, I actually don't care about is there a lot of error going through in the middle. So we want to give autonomy to agents. That means less strict pipeline, give more ability, maybe function calling, tool calling, stuff like that. And the most important thing is all about evaluation. You have to figure out evaluation at what time. What's the best choke point for evaluation? We think there's 2 points for us when we're competing this school board. One is figured out execution agent. If we're able to evaluate that, we can generate a better one. We can just kick out the bad one, kill it, generate another one, kill it, generate another one. It's evolution, man. And then the really important thing is how you evaluate the results, right? There's although many articles about that, agent as a judge or stuff like that. You basically want to really evaluate the results before you turn it in. And that layer of evaluation could also go back to your design agent as well to make sure the system works. So how we did it? We didn't quietly pass 03. 03 is 71.6. We got 70.6 result. So new Anthropic, Cloud 3.7, they got 70.3. So they're probably two problem, short than us. We're about less than 8% better than the current model out there, which is a weight and bias they did early this year. And what's the takeaway for you guys? If you guys not everyone want to compete on this benchmark, right? Really the takeaway is just invest in a good evaluation. If you're designing an agent, you really have to think about build the evaluation yourself. It's really a matter of taste because nobody knows the context of what you try to do. When you give away that scoring function, let other platform handle it, it's very generic solution, might not be the right thing for you. Number two, be flexible. Don't over-engineer your pipeline. We're working with probabilistic machine. When you over-engineer it, it's deterministic. You're just fighting against the grain. It's painful. You guys been there. It's painful. Let's not do it. Let's put everything to the evaluation, choke point on that. And third is there's really no perfect method. Try to use a broad approach. Try to just think as a human. One person may have one good answer. They might not always have a good answer, but you have many minds, many eyes on the same problem, just how we work as a team, we're going to have a great answer. So that's it. Just recap. We're Isoform. We build end-to-end integration for a mid-market company with headquarters outside the Bay Area. We deliver impactful outcome fast under budget. And how we achieve the high score, we first expand, then we collapse. Thank you. Yeah, we were very lucky. Yeah, do we use a single model or many model? The downside of this approach is cost. It's really freaking expensive. The secret I didn't say is we did it over holiday in around Christmas time. When DeepSeek came out, we took advantage of the cheap price, so we're able to run a lot. And we also use a lot of other models as well. So the deep part, you want to make sure you use a different model. You want to know the part that spend a lot of money, try to be, a little bit constrained how you spend the money. Yeah.
Thanks. You can just ask.
I like your focus on good quality evaluation as being critical here. I'm curious curious what kind of tools or workflows you've built or you'd like to use in the broader community for building out your evaluation.
Oh, well, so the question is, what tool we use or build internally, or we use? Yeah, we use our own. I will have a very, I guess, controversial. I have a very controversial take. Is you have to bring evaluation in house, because it's a matter of taste. What I mean by taste is, when you're writing a score function, you're using your own context to write it. My teammate may look at it, maybe correct, maybe they prefer some other way. Just a little different determine the quality of the result. Right? So you really, really want to be extremely careful with that. And sure, you can use an external, like let's say brain trust, all of those stuff out there. They all work pretty good, but I don't think we're that overly complicated. So we just bring in. Another thing you really want to figure out is your engineer or design trade-off or your product trade-off. We don't care about real time. We don't care about time. We don't care about cost. So that's a different trade-off.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask something about the cost, but you just mentioned you don't care about the cost. Because I heard the core is that you want to, by the way, very great and straightforward and easy to understand presentation. Thank you so much. The core is to help the company build AI solution that is under budget. But if we want to combine the result of different whatever model agent result together to get a better score, how to ensure that the budget would be not over too much?
Yeah, so what we do is we build integrations. We don't build AI tool for anyone. We build results. We give them code. We give them Docker image, Docker container, whatever they need, right? They think us as their integration engineer. As an engineer, you deliver code. You don't deliver whatever to tell us, hey, do that. So that's what we deliver. Why we're able to do under budget? Because we're just faster and better than typical dev shops. That's under budget because we're able to get the thing that for all of the engineers they care about, which is requirement. Requirement gathering, that's like 80% of the engineer work. If we're able to get that piece correct, and we are able to get that piece correct through our own ways, we can deliver really quickly. And that's how we're able to deliver under budget.
Okay, so does it mean the benchmarking may be expensive, but the solution you deliver could be very fast and...
I think we were just using the benchmark to see how we do against other people in terms of something that's not our focus.
Thanks.
Would you say the evaluation you use is deterministic or probabilistic?
Oh, could you repeat the question?
If the evaluation method you're using is
evaluation method.
Or probabilistic?
I think that's a really good question. I really don't have a good answer right now because in a way it is very deterministic. I think you have to start with a deterministic. I think where we are now is not really that because you start letting to learn because you start getting a lot more context about the issue you solve. Once you understand the context of things, then you can start evolve the right way. Right? It's really impacting each other. You see what I mean? When we have the basic foundation, couple of rules here, let's say rule 1, 2, 3, they start learning more. And what you learn become new knowledge. So you can kind of apply back in there. Are you saying this is deterministic way or probabilistic way? Right?
What?
Okay.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. You don't or you do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's just kind of mixed.
Okay, cool. One last question.
Do you have any tips on how big your eval suite, internal eval suite should be?
Eval suite should be multi-layers or multi-stage, and it should. For the SWE-bench, we didn't do it, but for our own product, you have to be human eval at the end.
What was that?
You have to be human eval at the end.
Human eval?
Yeah.
What do you mean by multi-stage?
You have to try to figure out the right choke point, right? So we have choke point in evaluating the agent's performance. Then we have a choke point at evaluating the task performance. So that's what I mean, that 2 stages evaluation. Then I don't think that's really good enough. At the end, you still want to have a human evaluator that makes sure you get really good results. And that's for our commercial product.
So like typical train test, and then somebody else is your human eval at the end?
Yeah, in terms of evaluation, I think you can't do a development time. And that's what we do a lot of times, about we start shifting evaluation or feedback to runtime. Evaluation should be really quick, should be the shorter the iteration, the better, right? And it should be part of the workflow. Just imagine how you and I learn as a human being, right? We don't just take, I mean, sometimes we do, but most of the time we don't just go on to take like 3 months course and come back and say, oh, I get this new knowledge. It's probably not very relevant to your work anyway. You probably get MBA, mean nothing in life. You really learn by day-to-day interact with your coworker, through PR review, through Google Doc feedback. That's a real-time eval, and that's an evaluation happen in runtime. We start shifting a lot more toward that direction.
Yeah, could you share
Nope.
like the number of
No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, cool. Thank you both. This is very good, like very interactive. And I want to give a preview. We have AI demo. That's my computer.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we have an AI demo night with the entrepreneur first the next Thursday. And if you have scanned the QR code, you can join. And hopefully you both can figure my computer.
I don't have your phone number.
Yeah,
I don't
but it's fine. Yeah, this is the first time we're doing kind of demo night. Next week is a partner with Entrepreneur First, and their accelerator kind of program. You're gonna see startup teams to demo their work. And that's it for tonight. We have the office for the next 40 minutes or so, and feel free to find the speakers, or if you talk to a person next to you and network. Thank you guys for coming.